Kevin Brown may not be the first name that comes to mind when talking about the greatest pitchers in MLB history, but the truth is he was one of the most dominant pitchers of his era. A true strategist on the mound, Brown had a devastating arsenal of pitches, led by his legendary sinker, which made batters break into a cold sweat. I'm Alder Santos, and welcome to our channel, Legends of Baseball. His presence in the game went beyond impressive stats. He was a fierce competitor, someone who turned any team into a serious threat. However, despite his excellence on the field, his name doesn't resonate with the same strength as other baseball legends. What happened that a pitcher who was one of the most feared of his time is in some ways forgotten by history? To understand Kevin Brown's trajectory, we need to dive into his career, full of ups and downs. From his meteoric rise with the Texas Rangers to his glory years with the Florida Marlins and San Diego Padres. He was a quiet leader, someone who let his performances speak for themselves. But his journey was also marked by challenges, such as massive contracts that raised expectations and injuries that tested his resilience. Even so, Brown always found a way to come back stronger, proving that his mentality and skill were among the sharpest in baseball. His accomplishments include historic performances, titles, and records that place him among the best of his generation. Watch this video until the end and discover all the details about Kevin Brown's incredible career. And now we want to know your opinion. Do you think he was underestimated by baseball history? What was the most memorable moment of his career in your opinion? Leave your comment below and join the conversation with us. But why doesn't Kevin Brown receive the recognition he deserves? Could his reserved personality have kept him away from the spotlight? Or did the context of the time and media narratives overshadow his true impact? Today, we're going to tell the complete story of one of the greatest pitchers to ever step on the mound. Get ready to relive unforgettable moments, understand the reasons behind the underappreciation of his career, and above all, rediscover the greatness of Kevin Brown. When we talk about dominant pitchers in MLB history, few names are as underrated as Kevin Brown's. During his career, he was synonymous with power, durability, and impeccable control on the mound. Although he often doesn't receive the same recognition as other baseball legends, Brown built an impressive legacy, being one of the most feared pitchers of his era. His journey, full of challenges and accomplishments, shows us an athlete who left a deep mark on the sport, both through his statistical performance and the impact he had on the teams he played for. Today, we're going to dive into Kevin Brown's career and understand why he deserves a place among the great names of baseball. Born on March 14, 1965 in McIntyre, Georgia, Brown showed talent from an early age. He played college baseball for Georgia Tech, where he caught attention for his powerful arm and ability to induce weak contact. In 1986, he was selected in the first round of the MLB draft by the Texas Rangers, a reflection of his immense potential. Throughout the early years of his career, Brown stood out for his tenacity, but it was over time that he refined his craft, becoming one of the most respected pitchers in the league. His arsenal included a heavy fastball and a devastating sinker that generated countless groundouts and prevented batters from making solid contact. After several years of development with the Texas Rangers, Kevin Brown began to show signs of stardom in the 1990s. In 1992, he had his first truly dominant season, posting a record of 21 wins and just 11 losses, with a 3.32 ERA. That campaign put Brown among the league's top pitchers and proved that he could be a true ace. However, his career would take a new turn in 1995 when he briefly joined the Baltimore Orioles before reaching his true peak with the Florida Marlins and San Diego Padres. It was with those teams that he solidified his status as a legend. In 1996, Kevin Brown signed with the Florida Marlins, and it was there that his career reached another level. That year, he had one of the most dominant seasons in modern history, finishing with a 1.89 ERA and leading the league in that category. He was a key piece for the franchise and, the following year, helped the Marlins win the 1997 World Series, the first in the team's history. Brown showcased his talent at the highest level in the playoffs, reinforcing his reputation as a pitcher who thrived in the most important moments. His presence on the mound gave the team confidence and intimidated any opposing batter. After his successful stint with the Florida Marlins, Brown was traded to the San Diego Padres in 1998, where he had another spectacular year. With a 2.38 ERA and 257 strikeouts, he led the Padres to the World Series that year, demonstrating his value as the central piece of the team. Although the team was defeated by the Yankees, Brown once again proved that he was one of the best pitchers of the era. His ability to dominate opponents, pitch deep into games, and maintain consistency at a high level made him one of the most sought-after free agents in MLB. It was then that Kevin Brown made history by signing the first contract worth over $100 million in MLB history, joining the Los Angeles Dodgers in 1999. This contract was a milestone for baseball, as it set a new standard for paying elite pitchers. During his years with the Dodgers, Brown continued to be one of the league's best, with impressive seasons and performances that kept his name among the greats. Unfortunately, injuries began to affect his durability, and his playing time started to decrease. Nevertheless, even with these physical challenges, he still had high-level seasons and helped shape a new generation of pitchers. In addition to his impressive skills on the mound, Kevin Brown was known for his intensity and fierce competitiveness. He wasn't the type of player to give an inch to opponents and always took the field with an aggressive mindset. His intense demeanor sparked some controversies throughout his career, but it also demonstrated how much he cared about the game and the success of the team. Many teammates and coaches admired him for his relentless work ethic and dedication to the sport. This commitment to excellence is one of the reasons his influence in baseball remains to this day. Although he wasn't inducted into the Hall of Fame, Kevin Brown left an undeniable legacy in baseball. With a career ERA of 3.28, 6 All-Star Game selections, and a World Series title, he stood out among the best of his generation. His numbers speak for themselves, but his impact goes beyond the statistics. Brown redefined the importance of an elite pitcher and paved the way for the astronomical contracts we see in modern baseball. Many players today recognize the influence he had on the value of pitchers in MLB. Today, looking back, it's impossible to ignore Kevin Brown's importance in baseball history. His talent, discipline, and winning mindset made him one of the great names of the position. Even without the recognition that many of his contemporaries received, his career serves as an inspiration to many young pitchers who strive for excellence in the sport. Brown proved that with dedication and hard work, it's possible to become one of the best, even when not receiving all the spotlight. Kevin Brown wasn't just a talented pitcher. He was a fierce competitor, a strategist on the mound, and a true warrior of baseball. Even in an era filled with great pitchers, Brown stood out for his intensity, refined mechanics, and his ability to dominate batters in ways few others could. His career, spanning nearly 2 decades, was full of brilliant moments and challenges overcome, cementing him as one of the most notable names in MLB. From his early days in Major League Baseball, Kevin Brown showed that he was different. He was drafted by the Texas Rangers in 1986 and quickly rose through the ranks of the minor leagues before making his MLB debut in 1988. Early in his career, Brown already displayed an impressive repertoire of pitches, but it was over the years that he refined his technique, becoming one of the most feared pitchers in the league. His precise control and ability to induce weak contact were essential weapons in his arsenal. One of the most memorable moments of his career came in 1992, when he had his first standout season with the Texas Rangers. That year, he posted a 3.32 ERA and 21 wins, proving he was ready to be one of the league's elite pitchers. But it was with the Florida Marlins years later that he truly shined. In 1996, Brown led the league in ERA 1.89, solidifying himself as one of the best pitchers of his generation. His precision, combined with a heavy fastball and a deadly sinker, made it difficult for batters to face him successfully. The following year, 1997, Brown had one of the most iconic moments of his career by leading the Marlins to the franchise's first World Series title. He was one of the key contributors to the team's success, delivering dominant performances in the postseason and helping the Marlins overcome powerful opponents on their way to the championship. His performance was a testament to his dedication, resilience, and winning mentality, qualities that defined his entire career. After his successful stint with the Marlins, Brown continued his journey with other teams, including the San Diego Padres and the Los Angeles Dodgers. In San Diego, he helped lead the team to the 1998 World Series, where, despite facing a powerful Yankees team, he showcased his strength and competitiveness. Later, in Los Angeles, he became the first player in MLB history to sign a contract worth more than $100 million, a milestone that reflected his importance and impact on the league. Despite his brilliant career, Brown also faced challenges. Injuries began to affect him in the 2000s, making it difficult to maintain his consistency and limiting his longevity in the game. Even so, he never stopped fighting and continued competing at a high level whenever he had the chance. His time with the Yankees, although marked by some difficulties, still showed glimpses of the dominant Kevin Brown who had terrified batters for years. Looking back, Kevin Brown's contribution to baseball goes far beyond his impressive statistics. He was a pure competitor, a player who never accepted defeat and always gave his best on the field. His meticulous approach to the game and his dedication to his craft inspired many pitchers who came after him. His legacy is that of a pitcher who, at his peak, was one of the best in the world and who always played with passion and intensity. Although Brown did not receive the same attention as some of his contemporaries, such as Greg Maddux or Randy Johnson, his impact on the game was undeniable. His devastating sinker, unshakable mentality, and ability to dominate in key moments secured his place in baseball history. He may not be in the Hall of Fame, but for those who saw him play, Kevin Brown will always be remembered as one of the greats. Today, his name may not be mentioned as frequently as some other legends, but his influence remains alive in the game. He set a standard for pitchers with strength and precision, proving that intelligence and strategy are just as important as speed and power. His legacy serves as a reminder that in baseball, true greatness often goes beyond awards and recognitions. It lies in how a player impacts the game and inspires future generations. Although Kevin Brown retired years ago, his influence in baseball is still felt, especially among pitchers who value accuracy, durability, and intelligence on the mound. Brown was never just a talented player. He was a true student of the game, someone who understood the smallest details of the art of pitching. His ability to read batters, adjust his game plan in real time, and exploit opponents' weaknesses was something worthy of baseball masters. This analytical and fierce mentality allowed him to compete against some of the greatest names in history and solidify himself as a reference on the mound. If there is one word that defines Kevin Brown's career, it's intensity. He played with burning passion, often letting his emotions show on the field. His determined gaze, aggressive stance on the mound, and self-demand set him apart from many of his contemporaries. It wasn't rare to see him frustrated after a mistake or poorly executed play because, for him, every inning was a battle. His perfectionism reflected his absolute commitment to excellence, something few players can sustain over such a long and demanding career. In addition to his technical dominance, Kevin Brown was also known for his incredible durability. He often led the league in innings pitched and was one of the most reliable pitchers in MLB during his prime. Even when injuries affected him in the final years of his career, he never lost the will to compete. For Brown, baseball was more than just a game. It was a constant mental and physical challenge, and he was always ready to face the challenge, no matter the circumstances. As dominant as he was, Brown did not always receive the recognition he deserved. His intense temperament and reserved personality often kept the media and fans from placing him on the same pedestal as other great pitchers of his time. However, those who played alongside him or faced him at the plate knew exactly how formidable he was. He didn't need to be charismatic or seek the spotlight. His performance spoke for itself. The respect he earned within the sport was based on pure merit on what he did within the four lines. Although he was not inducted into the Hall of Fame, Kevin Brown left a legacy that goes beyond statistics or awards. His career serves as an example of dedication, perseverance, and passion for baseball. For many fans and experts, Brown's absence from Cooperstown is an unjust omission, as he was one of the most dominant pitchers of his era. His impact on the way the game was played, particularly in terms of the sinker pitch and meticulous control of games, is undeniable. Even without a plaque in the Hall of Fame, his name continues to be remembered by true baseball enthusiasts. Looking back, it is clear that Kevin Brown helped define the standard for a generation of pitchers. His meticulous approach to the game, flawless mechanics, and competitive mentality influenced many players who followed him. Even with all the changes in modern baseball, his pitching philosophy, based on control, intelligence, and precise execution, remains a model for aspiring great pitchers. Today, even though he is far from the field, Brown remains a name that deserves to be celebrated. Whether by the fans of the teams he played for or by experts analyzing his career, his contribution to baseball is undeniable. His impact remains in the statistics, in the videos of his memorable performances, and in the memories of those who had the privilege of seeing him play. For younger fans who may not have witnessed his career live, it's worth revisiting his best performances and understanding why Kevin Brown was one of the most feared pitchers of his generation. Whether as a dominant ace on the mound, a quiet leader, or an unrelenting competitor, Kevin Brown embodied the essence of baseball at its highest level. His name may not be mentioned as frequently as other legends, but his contribution to the sport is as significant as any great pitcher in history. His legacy teaches us that, in the end, what really matters are not just the awards or headlines, but the mark a player leaves on the game and the inspiration they pass on to future generations. Kevin Brown may have been left out of the Hall of Fame, but his impact on baseball goes beyond a plaque in Cooperstown. He symbolizes the type of player who defines a generation not only by numbers, but by the mentality and style of play that influenced those who came after him. Brown was a pitcher who challenged batters with intelligence and precision, proving that baseball is not just a game of brute strength, but also of strategy and resilience. His devastating sinker, unshakable work ethic, and intensity on the mound are vivid reminders of his importance to the sport. Brown's absence from the Hall of Fame raises an interesting debate about selection criteria and how the history of baseball is told. Many argue that he was overshadowed by an era full of iconic pitchers, while others believe that his more reserved personality and complicated relationship with the media worked against him. However, when we look at his career with a purely technical analysis, it's undeniable that he was one of the best pitchers of his generation. Statistically, he equals or even surpasses some names that have already been immortalized, making his exclusion even more intriguing. Beyond the numbers, there's the intangible legacy that Brown left for the sport. He was a pioneer of what we now call elite pitchers with exceptional durability. At a time when a pitcher's longevity was a constant challenge, He stood out as a true workhorse, someone who not only accumulated innings, but did so with impressive consistency and quality. His approach to training and physical preparation influenced many pitchers who came after him, showing that success on the mound starts long before the first pitch of a game. His years with the Florida Marlins, especially in 1997, are a perfect example of how he could transform a team. Not only did he perform spectacularly that season, but he also served as the anchor for a team that surprised the league by winning the World Series. His impact was so great that even after he left, the Marlins continued to use his presence as a reference for what it meant to be a true ace. That 1997 title would not have been possible without Kevin Brown leading the rotation. The massive contract he signed with the Dodgers at the end of the 1990s also marked a turning point in how pitchers were valued financially. He was one of the first pitchers to break salary barriers, setting a new standard for future negotiations. Although his time in Los Angeles had its ups and downs due to injuries and controversies, his impact on the free agent market was significant, paving the way for the multi-million-dollar contracts that would become common in the 21st century. Even with some criticism about his personality and relationship with the media, those who truly knew Brown knew that he was a fierce competitor and an extremely dedicated professional. His teammates often highlighted his work ethic and his unwavering will to win. He wasn't the type to seek the spotlight, but rather a player who preferred to let his performance speak for him. His low-key style may have limited his popularity among casual fans, but among players and coaches, his respect was unquestionable. Over the years, Kevin Brown's reputation within the baseball community has only grown. As new statistical analyses emerge and more advanced methods are used to assess players' impact, it becomes increasingly evident that Brown was one of the best of his era. Many modern analysts revisit his numbers and realize that he deserves more recognition than he received during his career and even after retirement. If there is justice in baseball, Kevin Brown's legacy will still be revisited and appreciated as it deserves. Perhaps in the near future, he will receive posthumous tributes, whether from the teams he played for or even through reconsiderations of his Hall of Fame candidacy. But regardless of any award or official honor, his name will remain in the history of the sport for his achievements and the impact he made on the mound. For true baseball fans, Kevin Brown represents that kind of player who may not have received all the spotlight, but whose talent and contribution to the game are undeniable. And that is exactly why his story needs to be told and remembered. His career serves as a reminder that baseball is not just about popularity or media narratives, but about excellence on the field. In addition to his individual accomplishments and impact on the field, Kevin Brown also represents a fascinating chapter in the evolution of modern baseball. His style of play, focused on combining impeccable control, power, and intelligence, served as a model for pitchers who sought not only to dominate hitters, but also to understand the game on a deeper level. He wasn't just an athlete with a powerful arm. He was a strategist who knew how to exploit his opponent's weaknesses and adapt his repertoire as needed. His legendary sinker wasn't just an effective pitch. It was a true work of art. Few pitchers in history were able to manipulate the ball the way Brown did, generating weak contact and relentlessly eliminating hitters. He understood how to use his strength and mechanics to maximize the efficiency of his pitches, something many tried to imitate over the years. His meticulous approach to the game was a factor that kept him competitive even in an era filled with great offensive talents. Another crucial aspect of Brown's career was his durability. At a time when pitchers often struggled with injuries and shortened careers, he managed to maintain an elite level of performance for a long period. Part of this was due to his rigorous preparation and his deep understanding of how to take care of his body. He was one of the first to arrive at the stadium and one of the last to leave, always studying opponents and refining his mechanics to avoid unnecessary injuries. Despite some controversies and his reputation as an intense competitor, sometimes clashing with coaches, teammates, and reporters, Brown was always respected for his dedication and work ethic. For him, baseball was a serious commitment, and his relentless mentality on the mound reflected that. This competitive spirit, sometimes misunderstood, was exactly what made him such a feared pitcher by hitters. His impact on baseball history extends beyond statistics and trophies. Brown helped redefine what it meant to be a true ace, a pitcher who not only dominated his games, but also elevated the level of the team around him. He was the type of player who could carry a team on his back, delivering crucial performances when it mattered most. The Marlins' 1997 title is the biggest proof of this, as his leadership on the mound was essential for the team to win the championship against all odds. Even after his retirement, Kevin Brown's name continues to be a reference within MLB. Many modern pitchers study his performances to understand how he was able to be so dominant. His legacy isn't just about the impressive numbers he accumulated over his career, but also about how he inspired future generations to approach baseball with intelligence, dedication, and intensity. Brown's exclusion from the Hall of Fame may be seen as a historical injustice, but that doesn't erase his impact on the game. Many great players in history did not receive the immediate recognition they deserved, and there is always the possibility that time will reassess his importance. If evaluation criteria take into account his influence and relevance during the era in which he played, it's hard to argue against his inclusion among the immortals of the sport. If there's anything Kevin Brown's career teaches us, it's that success in baseball, just like in life, doesn't depend solely on natural talent, but on hard work, perseverance, and an unyielding pursuit of excellence. He was never a player who sought the spotlight, but his dedication and commitment to the game ensured that his name would be remembered among the greats. His legacy, even without a plaque in Cooperstown, is eternally etched in the memory of the fans and players who had the privilege of watching him in action. Kevin Brown is a clear example of how true greatness in sports goes beyond statistics and numbers earned. His career was proof that, to be truly extraordinary, it takes more than just talent. It requires an absolute commitment to excellence and a deep understanding of the game. His pitching style, full of nuances and adjustments, showcased an athlete who didn't just react to situations but controlled them in a nearly surgical way. Every move on the mound was thought out, and the way he manipulated pressure and adversity became a trademark of his journey. Kevin Brown's story also teaches us about the importance of resilience and perseverance. The fact that he overcame injuries and continued to compete at the highest level for so many years is a testament to his mental strength and passion for the game. In baseball, as in many other areas of life, obstacles are inevitable, but what really matters is how we deal with them. Brown didn't let difficulties defeat him, but used them as fuel to keep evolving and seeking the best performance possible, even when his physical condition wasn't the same as it had been in his earlier years. One of the great lessons we can learn from Kevin Brown's career is the importance of teamwork. Although he was a star in his own right, his ability to integrate and lead in the clubhouse was also key to the success of the teams he played for. He wasn't just a talented pitcher. He was a leader who inspired his teammates to give their best. Baseball, a sport that requires strong interaction between players, demands a collective vision of the game. Brown knew how to do this, putting the team's interests ahead of his own, and this sense of collectivity was one of the keys to his success. Another important reflection on his career is the nature of consistency. Kevin Brown wasn't a player who stood out for a single spectacular feat, but rather for his ability to maintain a high level of performance over many years. In the world of professional sports, where pressure is intense and expectations are high, the ability to be consistently excellent is one of the most valuable traits an athlete can have. His hard work and commitment to continuous evolution ensured that he was a steady presence on the mound, year after year, even amid personal and professional challenges. Furthermore, Kevin Brown's career reminds us that an athlete's legacy is not only built by victories or trophies earned, but also by the way they leave their mark both on and off the field. The respect he earned among his peers and his unique approach to the game make him a revered figure even today. Even away from the spotlight, he is still remembered as an example of dedication and integrity, traits that endure long after his retirement. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel for more fascinating content, and activate the bell to receive notifications. And don't forget to leave a comment. Finally, Kevin Brown's legacy invites all of us to reflect on our own journey. If we want to achieve true greatness, we must be willing to work tirelessly on our own talents, overcome the challenges that arise along the way, and never lose sight of the importance of the team and collaboration. Brown's story is a reminder that in any area of life, excellence is not something that is achieved all at once, but something that is built day by day with focus, determination, and an unwavering passion for what we do. He left an indelible mark on baseball, but more importantly, he left a lesson on how to live a life with purpose and dedication. Until the next journey, dear baseball lovers, amen.